Building a business is hard enough. Dealing with all the moving parts beyond the scenes makes it even harder.
I'll
All right.
say.
Joining me today is Shai Stern. We go back a ways. He co-founded Vintage Filings, V-Stock Transfer, and Checkvault. Corporate Roadshow was one of their early clients, so there's definitely some history here. He's been around the capital markets and fintech space for a long time, and now he's into his new venture, GoTavi.co, focused on simplifying how businesses actually run day to day. Shai, welcome to Off-Road.
What a treat to see you guys. It's been too long.
Great.
It's such a treat. I got to just say, Shai, the things that you bring, one thing that just opened my eyes about who you are is the story of how you disrupted the whole field of electronic printing. And correct me if I'm wrong, but my first experience with you is this is a guy who, and Bound of New York used to charge at that time, I don't know, 80 or 100 grand to file a registration statement. I was a young mommy securities lawyer. And I believe, if I'm correct, you flew all over the country and met with CEOs of microcap companies and explained your vision. And what a legacy you've built, and you continue to do it again and again. And I just admire and respect you so much. So welcome to Corporate Roadshow.
Thank you. Humbled by that. Thank you.
It's funny when you mentioned that, Andrea. Corporate Roadshow was actually one of their clients way back then, and that's when they did the Edgar filings, and that was really
The first of many incredible successes. But tell us, what was it that obviously the few service providers needed disruption? The industry needed it. Companies were overpaying. They couldn't handle it. But what was it for you that made you realize there was such an opportunity? Because, man, you seized it and you nailed it.
First, I had an amazing partner who I call my brother for life, Seth, who you guys know very well.
Of course.
Seth is my brother for life. And I had a certain, whether you call it grit, hustle, that I loved cultivating relationships and being out there. Seth, amazingly at that time, because now we know what an incredible personality he has morphed into and how he's developed his talents. But at that moment, Seth was amazingly the backbone of that business. And it only worked because I was able to be out all day and he was able to really execute flawlessly for our clients. And that partnership just thrived. And brotherhood was just established. It was a natural trust that was developed between us, that we relied on each other. We trusted each other. The amazing thing is Seth and I never, ever had a partnership agreement in writing between the two of us. And I can honestly say Seth took care of the finances. He took care of the bank account. I never once in all the years that we were partners ever looked at the bank account, nor ever looked and asked him for a bank statement. That is
beautiful is this.
So that is just, that's just the truth. At the same time, I really believed in what we were doing. We both did. And every single day I woke up in the morning saying, okay, we got to get at it. And who am I talking to today? Who am I cultivating with today? So I remember I lived in Cedarhurst back at the beginning of that. Really, most of the time I was living in Cedarhurst and Seth was living in Woodmere. And I got on the road heading to Manhattan at around 6:15, 6:20 in the morning. I was in the car. And at that time, I was making phone calls to Israel early in the morning. Who am I going to call? I'm going to call Israel in order to try to get those Israeli publicly traded companies and those attorneys to send business to Vintage. And then on the ride home, after pounding out a whole day in New York City, wherever I was on the way back, I had to calling folks on the West Coast to be able to cultivate and work on those. So it was a nonstop grind, hitting singles every day in order to be able to share with others and with the marketplace how we can add value to them.
So much energy. And I just want to thank you so much for edifying and crediting Seth, your partner, so much, because you need a team. And you are this dynamic duo, this team of two. Frank and I were catching up before about our memories of, like, when I met Seth, he actually came to interview as a lawyer at Sackenzie Ross Friedman Ferentz, where I was the first woman partner. And Frank was saying, yeah, he was a great operations guy, just like you were saying. And it is magnificent how he has so transformed into such a personality, someone who's so magnetic. And I've coined a little phrase for him in the stock transfer agent world that he's the glue that keeps the companies and the shareholders together, because he really is. He's really making those connections and maintaining the relationships. But look, he had you as a partner, and it sounds to me like you fed so much off of each other. And I'm really moved by the fact that you never needed an agreement. As a lawyer, it's so nice to hear about the handshake days, and they can still exist with the right people if there's trust and if people have integrity and do the right thing. And that's just a great story.
Thank you.
That's one thing. I was like I mentioned before, we talked before. I saw Seth at NEBA, and it was just great catching up. And I'm so glad that we caught up again here. And I'm so glad that you got to tell me about GoTavi.co. You've built and sold a lot of companies before, and now you have a new one. And just by talking to you about it, you were real passionate. And why don't you
Which
tell us
you
a
bring
little bit
to
about,
everything.
yeah,
It
why
seems
don't
like you
tell
don't
us
get
a-
involved with something unless you're passionate, which is important.
so why
Yeah,
don't you tell us a little bit about GoTavi?
sure. So over the years, I've been blessed in being able to work at American Stock Transfer and AST Stock Plan, and then it was Vintage Filings, and then we said what was next, and then we did V Corp, and then afterwards what was next, we did V Check Global, and then what was next was V Stock Transfer. And during that time, from 2007 really, 2006, 2007 until 2021, and then it really came this past summer of August 25 when I stepped out of CheckVault. And over 15 years, I built CheckVault, maybe a little bit longer, realizing that there was a need in treasury solutions for banks and credit unions and fintechs. And the whole world was telling me, Shai, why are you in the check processing business? Checks are dying. But it was the same kind of folks that told me, and Seth, why are you in the SEC filing business? The SEC one day can turn off Edgar and go into Word or PDF. So now you take these different lessons and experiences and relationships, and now it came time to, okay, where does the world go with automation? Where does the world go with AI? And what is the actual definition of AI when it comes to businesses that I enjoy, what I call plumbing, infrastructure, operations, and also knowing that I'm not a detailed guy. So I'm not a good operations guy. That's why I have Seth. That's why in other businesses, there's always somebody who is really operating. That's why Michelle McCloskey, who's been my chief of staff for 13 years, is now a co-founder at GoTavi, recognizing that where my talent is, I need the right village around it in order to.
Sure.
And then when we built GoTavi, I had this vision, but the vision could only be executed because I found a great technical partner in Alicia Herman. So it's how do you find the right folks around to help? Now, the problem that we're looking to solve for is that as a business operator and a business owner, you need to take care of multiple things that are just basics in order to run the business. And historically, you need a different vendor for each one of those. So there's formations, then there's business licenses, there's insurance, there's payments, there's background checks, there's payroll, and then there is how do I become visible on the AI platform? How do I use automation and AI to help me attract more revenue? There are these different needs. At the same time, you got to go build your team and you got to run a business. So we said with technology today, I shared this vision with Alicia, and he's executed perfectly, flawlessly on the platform that we needed. And at the same time, because Andrea, you're an attorney, so you appreciate that when it comes to formations, many, if not most, believe that once their company is formed, they're done. And they don't realize that there is endless other compliance requirements needed to running your business. And we realize that the attorneys and the advisors, CPAs, and they're going to email hell. They don't know where things are found. And a law firm can have a partner, two associates, and a paralegal dealing with it, plus a CPA. So we said, can we build one platform where folks can collaborate, where the business owner can have one vendor for multiple solutions? So their value is go build your business. I got you. I got you covered.
So this goes beyond
Well, hold on a
Slack.
second.
This is with a vendor.
Hold on a second. That also has something to do with GoTavi. Why don't you enlighten what Tavi means in
Yeah.
Hebrew?
Oh yeah, so this was so much fun.
Come on now.
When we decided, so obviously when you talk about Hebrew, you talk about Israel, you talk about Judaism. Can I go off a little bit on right now we're about to celebrate Passover, which is obviously us coming out of slavery and us being free and us becoming a nation, which obviously is just, it gives chills about the environment that we're living in today and the war in Iran and my family being in Israel and rockets flying. And I spent a month in Israel this winter. And then this Tucker Carlson, this moron who was literally became like a rabid anti-Semite. You have all this craziness going on and how blessed we are how blessed we are with having this president that we have, and my mom and my married oldest child is there, and my siblings, all these things going on, that we live in this incredible environment. But GoTavi, to answer your question, my kids were saying to me, they go, Pops, you always say, let's go, let's go. So you got to have a go in there. And then, others, my friend Adam Gotbetter and Seth and others were saying, you got to have a V in there. You did V filings, V corp, V stock, V check. And
Yes.
I said, how am I going to put a V in there? I didn't want to go V go. I didn't want to do certain things. So then I woke up in the morning one day and I said, okay, being 51 years old, I said, here's what I've learned about life. Maybe too late, but never too late, is that our job every single morning is to hustle, be honest, keep on just doing our job. That's the goal that we can go do. That's the effort that is coming from us. But at the end of the day, unless the good Lord, the boss upstairs, is going to bring forth blessing, it's not going to work. There are many good intentioned people that have all the right hustle, and the business doesn't work. Environments change, competitors come in there, they undercut, big clients leave, all these different challenges. So I said, listen, I can go do the work, I could do the go, but in Hebrew, the word tavi means to bring forth, hoping that God upstairs is going to bring forth the blessing. And that's how the name of the company came along, GoTavi. And by the way, I didn't realize it until afterwards. There's a V in there also. So we got the let's go, we got the Tavi,
Love.
we got the V. It all came together, and that got us very excited. That's the origin of the name.
Awesome.
It's
Awesome story. You can't make it
beautiful.
up.
Yeah.
You can't make that up. So how would you
I
describe?
was asking about Slack because I think people that hear about all the collaboration and connection, that's one platform that enables teams within an organization to communicate. And I'd taken off like wildfire. A lot of companies use it. There are a lot of competitors now. What you're talking about is, more importantly, the relationship with certain vendors, obviously compliance and conflicts of interest and all kinds of confidentiality, all the C's come into place. So you're keeping the vendors separate. Am I understanding correctly that, let's say, for the law firm to be connected to, let's say, the client, all the different components of the client, the CFO, the CEO, the marketing person, how does it work? And it sounds obvious, like, why didn't someone else come up with this? Because it becomes a channel to be able to have communication and make sure that nothing slips through the cracks. So can you elaborate a little further about the intricacies? Because people get this, and they also understand leakage and how things, like I said, slip through, that's like my worst, I don't want to say nightmare, but that's I heard this statistic once, I always change it every time I mention it, that we spend at least 2.5 years of our lives looking for lost things. And when you think about like even looking for that email or looking for that, those are lost things too. It's not just your keys. So tell us more about why this is so exciting, why it's going to help, and some of the details that I don't know about yet because other people want to know.
Sure. So first, I love how you said that, Andrea, about 2.5 years of things being lost. I'm actually going to use that. That's a great one. And so we go ahead and we know that. So, for example, we posted this week, there was a stat around banks and credit unions that when they want to give loans at the finish line, they're looking for documents always, for these compliant documents, and they're buried in somebody's email. That could be an office manager who was the office manager years ago, someone who set it up. They're no longer there. You can't get access to it. You have to reset passwords. It is literally, as you said, it is a nightmare. It's not the worst nightmare, God forbid, but it is a disruption, and it is a delay.
Suck. It's an absolute time suck.
It's annoying and a time suck, and people will get intense. It creates a lot of tension. So we understand that. Now, Slack is beyond brilliant. It's a tool that many companies, of course, they should be using. It is beautiful. We are looking to help in the operation side of a business and the infrastructure, the plumbing. And we understand that if we can have a hierarchy. So, for example, you appreciate this as an attorney as well, and you, Frank, as a business owner, there's a hierarchy. Who has rights to go out there and change how many shares are outstanding? Who has the rights to change documents? And in our platform, we have rules-based permission. We have a hierarchy that Alicia and team really built into the
governance.
platform.
Brilliant.
Great governance, great collaboration, great usage. And then we understand what comes next. So we understand what you need today. We understand what comes next. We understand what you might not be thinking about. And you're like, I should have been thinking about that already. So this is just years of experience of asking questions. I was told many years ago, the best salespeople and the best relationship builders are the ones who can engage and draw out and they do a lot of listening, exactly as you pointed to your ear. Best sales is how you listen, not how you talk. So we really built a platform with a lot of listening.
Already listed on an exchange but feel lost among companies clamoring for media attention? Tired of going from city to city hoping your story will find its way to the global market? If so, Corporate Roadshow has the answer. Quick, affordable, and without all the road trips. We are the perfect choice for promising public companies looking to gain exposure as a public entity. It all starts with a top-flight presentation. You've worked hard to create an exciting product or service. Now it's time to impress the capital markets with a professionally produced video presentation at corporateroadshow.com. We help you select the production format that's right for you. It may be a one-on-one interview with top management, or a presentation in front of business professionals, or a video conference interview. Whichever way you go, rely on corporateroadshow.com to execute the arrangements to perfection. We professionally videotape and edit your presentation. Then we add eye-catching graphics and music, then digitize the video for broadcast on corporateroadshow.com. Think about it. An exciting corporate presentation targeted to the global business community. And you get a digitized version of that presentation, which enables you to email your presentation to any database you choose. We at Corporate Roadshow pride ourselves on possessing the creativity and know-how necessary for the production of quality video presentations. Whether it be hosting your video or producing a webcast in the latest broadband technology, Corporate Roadshow is dedicated to applying our tools and talents toward facilitating the exchange of your ideas. It all adds up to global exposure, all courtesy of corporateroadshow.com. Go to www.corporateroadshow.com today and see for yourself. With corporateroadshow.com, you get worldwide exposure for your company without traveling the world, and it's all just a mouse click away.
You want to listen twice as much because you got one mouth and two ears.
Exactly.
100%. 100%.
Exactly.
I really like the demo that you gave me before. And I was going to ask you what kind of client would really benefit from the platform,
Seems
but
like everyone. What is your
anyone can
initial
anyone can-
sector?
yeah, anyone can
This has
benefit from
been
it.
so
And
much
it's
fun.
it's very affordable.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So yesterday we had a team call. Me, Alicia, Michelle, my son Ellie. The four of us are on a call, and Alicia has his developers. But the four of us are on a call, and we have a bunch of folks that are calling me up saying, "Shai, let us do marketing for you. Let us do marketing for you." And I go, "Okay." And they go, "What's your ICP? What's your ideal customer profile?" And I go, "It's pretty broad. We have no ICP. And then they go, "What's your strategy? Which one is the entry point for GoTavi?" I said, "We have a multi-web strategy. You can use GoTavi whether you have yet to form or whether you are already formed, or whether it might be in your maturation, your growth as a business." What Frank is alluding to is really cool, that you can go to the GoTavi site, gotavi.co. You can go to our products, and you can hit where it says Pulse. That is our solution. That's AEO, which stands for Answer Engine Optimization. Now,
Oh.
this is really cool.
Did you coin that yourself, if you don't mind my interrupting and asking?
No, there's a lot of
Okay.
folks that are using AEO or they're using GEO. But what
Okay.
has happened over the last year and change is that folks today are using the AI platforms to ask questions. Where do I find the best bagel, the best pastrami sandwich in Brooklyn? Or who do I find to go in and do this? Versus it used to be best Chinese Brooklyn. It used to be search. Now it's a question. So it used to be, and it still is, obviously, search engine optimization, which Google became worth a couple of $1 trillion because people are using Google and their platforms to be found. And now people are asking questions. That's called answer engine optimization to the questions that's being asked. Now, that means that every business who wants to be found, which is everybody, and they want to increase pipeline, they want to increase sales, need to know how they're going to appear and become visible on these platforms. So we created our solution called Pulse. And now I showed Frank that you can go to our website, you can enter in your URL, click the let's go, and then within a couple of seconds, they're going to tell you how you currently are visible on the platforms and then give recommendations how you can improve, and will help you become more visible. Now, it's incredible, and this is where the hockey puck obviously is going. This is the future, and these platforms are only beginning. We're in the infancy stages, so the future will be your business better be there.
Yeah.
I love that. Let's go. It sounds as part of your interface, which is you're giving the homage to your son for recognizing that's how you run your life. Let's go. Very cool. I can't wait to look at it myself. I haven't been there, and I'm sure everyone who's listening is going to want to check it out. What is the process for onboarding and all of that? Is it complicated? Frank alluded to it being affordable. Do you mind talking a little bit about that and why you've priced it the way that you have? And it sounds to me, if I'm hearing you correctly, like you want to bring this to the masses. You want to make it difficult to say no to because it's a no-brainer. Am I hearing you correctly?
You heard beautifully. That's really what we've done for 30 years, is how do we make the decision for you, or we lay you up the decision? Here, one, I want to answer your question about how easy it is to sign up. We try to make it as easy as possible. So you could, for example, you can go to GoTavi right now. You could register for the platform. We do not charge for the usage of the platform. And you could do a run through on the platform to become familiar with it. That is very easy, gotavi.co. You could also, we have those folks who are coming to us and saying, I know a ton of people that would love this. Can I earn money by becoming an agent of GoTavi? And you could become a GoTavist on our website as well.
I love that. I love that term.
That might be in our future, Frank.
And you could become a GoTavist. And in addition to becoming an Uber driver or whatever your side hustle might be, there's an endless opportunity. We have such a unique breadth of opportunity in a market where, of course, attorneys are seeing the benefits of it. We recently got a phone call of a platform that's got 50,000 plus creators, folks that are out there on Instagram and TikTok, but then they want to sell their solutions and their services to brands. So if you want to sell to a brand for them to hire you, you have to form an entity and you have to have insurance. So we're creating a package that is specific for the creator economy. We have banks and credit unions that are saying we need a compliance package and we want to attract better SMB deposits. Can you go ahead and allow us to white label the GoTavi platform? And yes, it is white labelable, if that's even a word.
Labelable.
Yes, and it can be embedded into these platforms. The breadth is there. The value 100% is there. And to answer your question regarding pricing, is that, look, affordable pricing historically is where you have two choices. Either one, you have the person think about it and they shop, or two, they see value and they go, I feel as if I am getting great value.
Yeah.
That's what we've always tried to go do. I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you do. You're very smart. You have a great memory. When we came to you about vintage filings, one of our pitches was no rush fees. And our competitors were charging rush fees. And I remember the line was, wait 1 second. If you're ordering a pizza from Domino's or by me, a kosher pizza store, and they go to you, when do you want the pizza? I want it now because I'm hungry and I want to have pizza and I want it hot and fresh. And they go, if you want it now, it's going to be an extra surcharge because you want the pizza hot. But if you want it cold, we'll charge you less money. I'm like thinking to myself, you want your SEC filings now, not in 2 days. You need to file. It's the same kind of concept.
Yeah.
You need it. We want to deliver it to you. We want you to feel good about it. We want you to refer us to other business, speak about us, engage. And hopefully that's going to be the right approach.
I have to think vendors, a lot of vendors would want to get on your site. How do you vet the vendors? How do you get them on?
So right now, I think we're pretty good with where we are. We've had a bunch that have approached us and said, will you want to add on additional services such as accounting or such as tax prep? And there've been a bunch of those as well. And right now we said, look, we think we're good for now. We remember this is a startup that I left Checkalt in August. Alicia and I met shortly thereafter. We launched this platform around November time. We're still releasing additional features. We're still listening to a lot of feedback. We're just finishing up our first quarter operationally. And at the same time, we already are taking orders. We already are having engagement.
I just want to acknowledge something you said a moment ago about treating people like a human being. You didn't use those words, but the fact that the rush fees were not part of it, you were giving respect to business owners who don't feel rushed to make a decision now and get a bargain. And the pizza analogy makes a lot of sense. You bring this type of trust to all of your businesses. You bring this, it's respect. It's like you're demonstrating respect for the clients. And that's what I observe as one of the things that makes you so different. And I believe what's led to so much of your success. People feel good. They feel cared about. They feel like you're not trying to pull one over on them. And that's why people like Frank and I are attracted to this personality, this ideology, to someone like you in business, because not everyone is like that. And if we can surround ourselves with people and then also be a good example that if you can be this way, you can still be super successful. You don't have to exaggerate or lie or take a shortcut. So I just want to thank you for the way that you are. And we are excited about where you are now and what it is that you're doing. Is there, you might not want to talk about this quite yet, but is there a distant future capital raise to explosively grow? Or are you looking to grow organically? What's on the sort of horizon for 2026 for you, if you had it all your way?
Just grow, just take care of customers. And all the businesses, it's been just do well by customers and just keep on growing. I don't intend to raise money for this. I intend to be laser focused on being the best provider and partner for our clients. That's it. Laser focused on that.
Good
Awesome.
stuff. Good stuff. A good lesson for
Yeah.
everyone.
Great talking with you, Shai.
Thank you.
How can people get in touch with you, or how can they, what's the website address?
It's GoTavi.co, GOTAVI.co. My email is sstern@gotavi.co. I'm on LinkedIn, and my cell phone is still the same. It's been for all these years, 917-579-3107. And I pride myself as being one of the easiest guys to get a hold of, except, of course, for Shabbos and Jewish holidays.
It's great. It's great catching up again. Look forward to catching up with you at one of the shows or whatnot, or next time we're in New York.
Thank you.
I'd love to see you in person. It's been way too long.
Thank you.
Your enthusiasm is contagious. And thank you. Thank you so much for bringing so much positive energy to our listeners and to us.
Thank you. It's very kind. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.